welcome to our live show today. I'm your liner coach today, Alan Lin, and I work in Welfare Engine Parts. Our brand is Welfare. We are very grateful to have you here today. So the topic of us today is liners. To know an engine part, we have to know their function first. So today we are going to share some basic knowledge about liners first. First of all, do you know what's a liner? Well, the liner provides mounts for piston group. It means it helps the piston to move upward, and also it helps the piston to slide. Help the piston to go downward. It also has sealing function. Besides, except for the three functions, it also has the function to let go the heat from the liner itself to the coolant. And for some dry type liners, the heat goes to the coolant via engine block. After talking about the function of liners, then we will talk about the liner design. Well, we can divide it in three groups: mono-metal design, bonding design, and insertion design. The first is mono-metal design. It means the liner surface is directly machined in the engine block, which most applied in gasoline engine blocks or smaller diesel blocks. And the benefit of it is because it's small, so it will help to make the engine block smaller and lighter. But it also has one obvious weakness, is the replacement of it can be very difficult and sometimes very expensive. The second is called bonding technology liner design. To some kind of extent, it's similar to the first one, mono-metal design. The difference is bonding tech cylinder liners. It uses suitable containing metal materials or ceramic materials, and then they put the materials or insert the materials in the casting modeling, and then the machine will help to make them one piece. The third is the most well-known in piston design, that is insertion technique liner design. Well, it's widely used in aluminum engine block or casting engine block. This kind of liners are made of a variety of materials, and it can be divided into two types. Welcome our friends. And just now we talked about insertion technique liners. This kind of design has two types: wet cylinder liners and dry cylinder liners. And this is characterized by whether the liners are pressed in the engine block or slid in the place of the engine block. Let me tell one more point, is the wet cylinder liners are slid in the engine block, and it mating with mounting techniques. Mounting features machined in the engine block. Welcome our friends. After talking about the cylinder liner design, and then we will go to where the liners are centered. The liner is long, and it can be. Let me show you a sample. Please take the one with a collar.
Yes.
Thanks for my friends, Max. This is a wet liner, and this liner, it's centered in the clock. Can you see it? This is the color of the engine of this cylinder liner, and this kind of liner features a collar at its upper end, and this collar is clamped between the engine block, also the head gasket. We can imagine where it's in the engine block. Thank you. And this kind of liner, this liner is centered by the collar itself, or the center is below the liner, a little below the liner. It has advantages and disadvantages. This kind of collar for centering can provide good cooling for the top end because it touches the engine block, so it can transfer the heat from the liner directly to the engine block. But it has one disadvantage, that is, it will be the corner that touches with the engine block. One or two of the corners on the liner will be very, very hot, so it will be too hot, and it's bad for the engine block, or it will put great load on the engine block. That's why at the time of repairment, we can see a lot of collars break, and in these cases we need to emphasize rolling progress, which will be shared in next section. Centering at the points below the collar, a little below the collar, will have less cooling effect, but it will relieve the load on the collar because its center is not on the collar, and so there won't be very heavy load on the engine block. Next we will talk about the liner is centered in the lower part of the liner. This kind of design requires particular engineering, careful engineering, to reduce the risk of changing the shape or reforming. Let's see why it is important. It is related to the structure of it is related to where the liner is. The upper part of the liner is the head gasket, and the down part of the welcome Lydia, and the down part and the lower part of the liner is the flat gasket. If the place of the liner didn't fit correctly, there will be protrusion or depression of the top liner surface. It means there will be a part stick down, or on the surface it will have a depression. It will go downward. So in these cases, it doesn't only affect the liner itself, it also affects the part that touches the liner, like the head gasket upward in the upper side, or the flat gasket in the lower side, lower the liner. Also, it affects the whole engine block because that the liner directly work with, and it may have a risk of leakage because when the shape of it change, there will be extra air in this place, so it will cause leakage. Next, we will talk about the wet cylinder liners and dry cylinder liners. Please pass me dry cylinder liner. Oh, sorry. We need to show a wet cylinder liner first.
Okay.
Here is a wet cylinder liner. We can see the size of it. It's big, and we can. What liner is it? It's a yes, it's for Cummins, and the dial of it is 114 millimeters. Welcome, Ashraf. Well, and just now the one I show you is a wet cylinder liner. So what are the advantages of wet cylinder liners? We can for this kind of liners we can select the liner material freely, and the repair of it's easier because it is slipped in the engine block. What's more, we can install anti-polish ring because there will be a little more space between the engine block and the liner. Well, the disadvantages are very obvious, that it will be too long, too heavy, and the cost of it's very high. Then we will talk about dry cylinder liners. Well, dry cylinder liners are press fit, shrink fit, or cast in the engine block. Well, considering the dry liners are fitting, the wall thickness is much thinner than the wet liner we showed just now. Now we will show you an liner. It's a dry liner. Max, can you tell me what brand is this liner?
This dry liner is from Perkins, and its diameter is 100 millimeters.
Yes. Well, because it is thinner than the wet liner we saw just now, the deformation of the dry liner after installation is inevitable. So most dry liners will be machined after installation. Well, compared to wet liners, dry liners provide a more specific bore because it needs to be machined in the engine block. It can't be too big or too small. And it also helps the engine block to be lighter and smaller. In these cases, it allows more freedom in selecting. It gives more freedom in selecting the material. But the weakness is difficult to put anti-polish ring because the thinner wall thickness. To put wet liners and dry liners as a whole, compare with other cylinder liner design, there might be advantages and disadvantages when compared to other cylinder liner design, like the monometal design or the second liner design. Well, the cost of it depends on the number of units produced and the casting process that we selected, and the engineering details of the engine block. Welcome, dear Zoe Lang. After this a simple introduction of wet liners and dry liners, we will talk more about wet cylinder liners today. Both of the wet cylinder liners can be separated into two types. Standard cylinder liners or mid-stop cylinder liners. Well, the standard cylinder liners are the edge is it's smooth, but the mid-stop cylinder liners there is one special design here. Well, to make it more clear, I will show you a mid-stop cylinder liner. I will invite my friends to bring me one.
This is very heavy.
A moment, please. This one is a mid-stop cylinder liner. It's for Cummins, dial 130 and 37.
Yes, you can check out this color is in the middle of the liner.
Yes, this is
called
mid-stop cylinder liner.
Yes, mid-stop cylinder liner. As Eleanor introduced this very well, and our customer is very satisfied with its long life.
Long service life, yes. Thank you, dear.
Yes.
And then we will continue our introduction. Well, both the standard and mid-stop wet liners are in direct contact with the coolant. So it has better heat dissipation than the dry type liners because it touches the coolant directly, so it will let go the heat easier and quicker and faster. While cylinder liners are made of cast iron, were more widely used. But with increasing peak cylinder pressures and large displacements, high-strength materials such as cast iron with nodule graphite or steel are increasingly and more used. So it will be the market trend, and this the standard liners features cooling over the entire running surface area. Welcome, our friend. I say the standard cylinder liners features cooling over the entire surface area, while the mid-stop liners has a flange only the upper part that touches the coolant. The water is transferred only to the upper part of the running surface area. To summarize, for both standard and mid-stop liners, in order to sorry, it's not a summary. We will talk about a special design on the liner. Hello, welcome, second. If you have any problems, you can contact us in Ali shop or follow us. Thank you. For both, let's continue. For both standard and mid-stop liners, in order to prevent buildup of oil carbon residue on the top land of the piston in large bore, especially in large bore engines, or at least to make the carbon residue less, a ring made of cast iron can be used. We can insert it in the cylinder liners so that it can help to reduce. So it can help to reduce carbon residues. The place of it is loosely located in a turned recess inside the top of cylinder liner. The ring that we put in the cylinder liner protrudes slightly into the combustion chamber, thereby scraping the oil carbon off the top land of the piston. For some commercial vehicles, commercial diesel engines, which are smaller, the use of such a ring is relatively difficult because they are thin, small, so there is no extra space. So there is no extra space for the ring, for the anti-polish ring. In this case, a node can be a node is a place that. Sorry, I will show you the picture. I think a picture will help us to understand it better. Sorry. And let me just describe it. A node is a place sticks out a little from the liner, so it can be used in the cylinder liner or to also the same working function as the ring we talked about just now, to last the carbon residues. Well, as I mentioned before, the name of these kind of rings are fire rings, anti-polish rings, or scrapper rings. The overall benefits of using fire rings includes, but not limited to, reduce fuel and oil consumption, increase piston group service life and lubricant service life. While this is advantage, the disadvantages of it is the cost of it is a little high and it's more complicated. The installation of it is a little complicated. Welcome our new friend. For cylinder, now we just finished advantages of the disadvantages and advantages of the fire ring or the anti-polish ring. And then for cylinder liners, one of the most important features is the running surface, or we can say working area. It's also the sealing surface for the pistons and piston rings. It has a determined influence on establishing or distributing oil flow between the liners and the pistons. We can imagine it. It's a liner and it's a piston. When it goes upward and downward, the working surface between them, the place that my hands touch, is their working space. This space is of vital importance. Next, we will. The importance of it is we just showed the importance of it, and then we will show you. We will show you a picture of the rolling process. What about we just give you a sample to show? Could you please bring me a sample with rolling surface?
This homing surface.
No, rolling process. This kind of technology widely used in large or heavy wet cylinder liners. This one, please. A moment, please. Welcome, Mustafa. It's difficult to see it. You can see this squares inside the liner. These are the marks. Well, during the honing process, in order to better finish final machining of the cylinder running surface, it's matched by precise boring or turning and subsequent rolling. It means the sharp knife edges will spinning inside the liner, or transitory cutting inside the liner, and it doesn't stop up to just one circle. It goes round and round and round and creates layers and layers of the scraps. So this is how it looks like. This is the surface after. This is how it looks like after the rolling process. The score arising from the cutting motion will produce on an angle. Here, the blue one, this angle. The blue one, this angle. This angle is very important. If it's too smooth, the liner surface it's important to keep the angle in a proper range, not too smooth, not too big, so it can keep some, not too small, so it can keep some oil during the piston ring movement, not too large, so it can help to or it will wear too bad. So it's not too large. Surface finish is to help decrease the wear between the mating surfaces. As we have mentioned in earlier section, the standard wet liners have to withstand huge stress in the liner collar, which will lead to break out the collar. To avoid or decrease such failures, rolling process is applied to increase surface stress of the collar between the cylinder liner body and the collar itself. By such rolling process, the stress of the collar increased about 10 to 25%, and it will longer the overall life of the liner itself about 15 to 35%. That is all the main contents of today's liner. If you have any questions, please leave us questions. Contact us in Ali shop. The content of today's is a little difficult and a little difficult to understand. If you have questions, please contact us. We are good at wet cylinder liners, so your inquiries will be warmly welcomed. We are waiting for your comments and your reply. Thank you very much. That is all for today's live show. Thank you very much. Goodbye.